If you're a remote product owner or Scrum Master, you will have to coordinate at least one of the 5 agile ceremonies in every sprint. And it becomes difficult to keep the team and the attendees engaged, and you want to prevent your meeting from being monotonous and not providing value to the attendees. In this video, I'm going to show you practical ways for prepping for the daily huddle ceremony so that you can get a holistic view of the progress the squad has made and address any blockers in a timely manner. So let's go inside and let's get to it. All right, so when it comes to huddling, there are a couple of things you have to keep in mind. First, the length of the session. Second, who conducts the huddle. And third, what is discussed and covered during that session. So to start, the length of the session, it is intended to be a very quick check-in. And so for that, the meeting is intended to only last no more than 15 minutes. Regardless of the size of the team, you want to ensure that you don't make it too long so that it doesn't get too boring and you go into more detail that's necessary. The intent of the huddle is for each individual to highlight one, what they have accomplished and in terms of what they're working on the day before, as well as the current day, as well as highlighting any constraints. It could be technical constraints, it could be more just like organizational constraints and so forth, or any dependencies that they may have with other teams or other teammates. And so those are the only things you need to touch on. So who conducts this meeting? Intended to be conducted by the Scrum Master. The Scrum Master is the one who opens the forum and uses the Jira board to go one by one through each individual's workload. And then they have each person essentially speak to their prioritized stories in the current sprint. And they're able then to highlight, where things that are in progress or things that have already been blocked because of certain things, as well as the things that have not started, they can maybe touch on in case there's something that they're still missing. So that is pretty much how the huddle goes. It goes one person at a time. The Scrum Master shares their screen, and then they're able to call out one team member at a time until everybody goes through. So as an individual, expect to have maybe less than 2 minutes to really speak up to your number of user stories that you have. And so you want to be very precise and straight to the point when you're calling out the progress made, what constraints you may have, or dependencies. And that is it. So the huddle is the most important meeting that a team can have, especially a remote tech team, because that's when you have these checkpoints to really check on the health of the team, check on the health of the backlog you're working on, and see if you're trending positively towards achieving the objectives that you've set for that specific sprint. And that way, if there are any blockers, any constraints, then the Scrum Master is able to take note of those and expedite solving them. So whether they follow up and bring in other people, or they can escalate to the higher up so that they can get the tools that needed to enable each individual team member to deliver on the prioritized work that they're working on in that current sprint. Okay, so that is essentially what the huddle is. If there is other different formats or ways that you have done huddles previously in your teams, especially if you're working remotely, I'd love to hear about that. So please share in the comments, and yeah, let's just learn from each other. But it's important that everybody understands how these ceremonies really come in handy and enable the teams to be efficient in their work, but also, become effective over time on how they collaborate and be able to add value to the overall objective. Now that you know how to prep for the daily huddle ceremony, you might be wondering, what about the other ceremonies? If that's the case, watch this video next where I will walk you through how to prep for the backlog grooming ceremony. So thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in this video next.